On December 6, the day of the armed forces of Ukraine, another 60 Ukrainian soldiers returned home from Russian captivity. Among them were defenders of Mariupol and those who were held in the penal colony in Olenivka, Donetsk region.
Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes.
This exchange is the fifth in almost 2 months. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, more than 1,300 Ukrainians have been returned from captivity.
We must return all our heroes who were captured by the enemy, all those who were deported, who were subjected to repression and who are kept in various isolation in Russia and in the temporarily occupied cities of our state.
In human behavior, lack of medical care and communication with relatives, Russia's gross violations of the Geneva Convention are not an exception.
We were abused, we were beaten, they are not humans, they were just unhumans. Women were beaten, and most of all women were beaten, their women beat us. We were all around, we were in Taganrog and Valuki in the Belgorod region, Kursk region, we were dragged almost all over Russia, so to speak. If you only knew how they torture our men there, they abuse them very, very atrociously.
It is unknown exactly how many Ukrainian military and civilians remain in Russian prisons, because Russia hides the places of detention and lists of prisoners, and until recently did not allow representatives of international organizations to visit them. But last week a mission of the International Committee of the Red Cross managed to visit the prisoners who are being held by Russian side.
We were able to check how prisoners of war are being treated and to make sure families receive updates. My expectation is that these visits lead to more regular access to all prisoners of war. Mirjana Spoljaric, president of the International Committee of the Red Cross.
What exactly made the Russian side start cooperation with the humanitarian organization is still unclear. This is probably an attempt to wishful thinking, experts suggest.
It is necessary to motivate all sides, the Russian Federation in the first place, so that there is access to all places of captivity. Because it is still important to raise the question here that this should not be visits specially prepared selected places, but that visits to those places that are known for their brutal treatment of prisoners of war. Russia understands that all those prisoners of war who are now under their control in places of captivity will be transferred to Ukrainian territory and under Ukrainian jurisdiction, and it is important, nevertheless, to observe the face and standards of holding prisoners of war.
The head of the office of the President of Ukraine, Andriy Yermak, criticized international organizations, in particular the International Committee of the Red Cross, for their weak position on the issue of prisoners of war. Therefore, Ukraine initiates an international mission to monitor the conditions of detention of prisoners in Russia and in the temporarily occupied Ukrainian territories.
We have appealed to the Ombudsmen, we have appealed to international organizations to join them, and we are now working on creating such a mission that could really get to the places where our prisoners are, because from the Russian Federation a coordination center from their contacts or does not receive any information or receives information that is very difficult to consider real.
Ukraine is also taking back from the enemy the bodies of killed soldiers. Thus, according to the Ministry of Reintegration of the Temporarily Occupied Territories of Ukraine, 827 bodies of killed Ukrainians were handed over to their relatives. Reported by Roman Smoler, Valeria Nikipelova, UATV News.